What's up, YouTube? This is your girl, Megan. Welcome back to my channel, cousins. However, if this is your first time joining me on today, welcome to the HoodAstroQ. It is here that we use information from celestial bodies to help us gain a better understanding of our favorite celebrities, world events, but most importantly, our damn selves. So hit the subscribe button, thumbs up this video to grow the channel, and of course, click that notification bell so that way you will be alerted whenever I make a new post. And then finally, if you are interested in booking your very own natal chart reading, contact me at astrowerld, that's astrowerld at gmail.com, and we can get you squared away on today. So, as you guys may have been able to tell by the title and thumbnail, I am coming to you all once more with yet another celebrity synastry reading. This time on Lori Harvey and Michaelbjordan. Now, this was highly requested. I've been getting emails. I even asked you guys on my community tab. A couple of y'all said, sure, you would like to see a synastry reading between the two. So here it goes. These two are, they've been linked together for quite some time now. Paparazzi takes pictures of them every now and again. So there'll be pictures of Lori and Michael getting on and off of planes. So they have been speculated to be, have been together for quite some time. However, as of, I guess, within the past couple of days, Michaelbjordan took to his Instagram to make it social media official and kind of claim Lori publicly. And not everybody's losing their minds because, you know, shout out to Lori Harvey. Y'all check out my natal chart reading that I did on Lori Harvey. Okay, go check that out. Watch that after this video. But, you know, I did a reading on her maybe a year or two ago, and she has a very lengthy track record when it comes to dating well-established men, older men, men within the entertainment industry, and men who are highly coveted amongst lots of women. And Michaelbjordan is absolutely at the top of that list. So people are applauding her left and right. You got all the girls saying, fuck a Sierra prayer. We want to know the Lori Harvey prayer. What prayer did she say to get her in these positions? And I got some hard and sobering truths for you guys during this video. So let's just go ahead and take a look at the synastry between these two to get a deeper understanding of what brings them together as a couple. All right. So here we go. On one hand, we have Lori Harvey, who was born January 13th, 1997 in Memphis, Tennessee. And then on the other, we have Michaelbjordan, born February 9th, 1987 at 8:14 p.m. in Santa Ana, California. With Lori being born on the 13th, the number 13 actually breaks down to 4. And the interesting thing about the number 4 is that it is a very impersonal number. It's a number that signifies a certain level of detachment when it comes to one and their ability to really fortify themselves with other people. These are people who could often place themselves in situations based out of convenience. These are people who tend to take a work smarter, not harder approach to life. And it is also very consistent with a lot of the Capricorn energy that we're dealing with, right? In terms of Lori, because she is a Capricorn sun, Mercury, Venus, okay, and even Jupiter. So she's a Capricorn stellium, where there is a tendency to navigate oneself and position oneself amongst friends, amongst associations, peers, groups of people, to where you can put yourself in a certain esteem, right? To where you have something to gain from being surrounded by certain groups of people. And where a lot of it, once again, could be very impersonal, where people could also even be kind of expendable. And when you think about Lori Harvey and her approach to dating, I mean, come on now. She's been with at least maybe 6 or 5, maybe, I don't know, men that she's dealt with in the public. And now, while I'm not personally casting judgment on that per se, just looking at the facts the way that they are, she does a lot of moving and maneuvering and navigating, which is why a lot of women do tend to praise her, because these are traits that tend to be associated with men as opposed to women, right? But these are also traits that could also be closely associated with that gold digging kind of mentality, right? Where you're able to, you know, place a certain level of degree a separation between how you feel about somebody personally and what your vested interests are in a particular group of people or a particular person or situation. That's very four. That's very four in nature. These are also people who could attract perverts, especially women. And I thought that was actually very poignant considering all of that Capricorn energy that she's working with, because from a very young age, Miss Mama has been dating men at least 10 years or more her senior. She's actually, what, maybe 22 now, 21. Michaelbjordan is 32. But at some point, she even dated Diddy. And Diddy is like old as hell. And he like 60. So, you get my point. It's just certain things that make you go, Now, on the other hand, Michaelbjordan, him being born on the 9th, that number 9 is a very personalized energy, but if afflicted, these are people who can absolutely have some identity issues, which we'll come back to later on. Okay. But these are also people who are naturally self-serving and motivated to respond to certain situations or make certain choices based off of, how they're going to benefit as well. Or, what can be done to kind of help them. It's a me first kind of mentality. Or like even self-preservation. These people are going to save face. They're going to do what's best for them at all costs. So even when we examine the numerology of the two, okay, it doesn't really spell out loving, doting couple forever type of relationship. It just doesn't. And one of the first things that stood out to me in regards to both of their natal alignments is that Lori's Venus, which is at the 3rd degree of Capricorn, is conjunct Michael's Venus at the 5th degree of Capricorn. This right here is an aspect that can produce a carbon copy relationship where each person in the relationship is essentially a carbon copy of one another, where they could even have a lot in common, right? Where it's almost like you met your match kind of energy, where they're very much equally yoked in terms of their goals, right? And their goals and their reasons for entering relationships. These are people who are either very serious about the type of relationships and are very intentional about the relationships they put themselves in. But a lot of times it's rooted from a place of opportunism. It could even be rooted from a place of what it could do for a person's career. And of course, especially with Lori, once again, with all of that Capricorn energy she has, it's rooted in a place of trying to, number one, establish her own kind of public standing, but also being able to place yourself in close proximity to men and other people of that caliber as well. Okay. But moreover, this Venus conjunct Venus in Capricorn deals with where they are a mirror reflection of one another in terms of how they navigate relationships, and where they do in fact share the same vested interests in terms of, once again, career, reputation, and it could effectively create a working relationship, y'all. Reading between the lines. This is actually an aspect for business partners. Okay. Where both stand to gain something from this relationship, be it finance, be it opportunities. And with Michaelbjordan, I think a lot of this, we need to discuss why he would even feel motivated to enter a relationship with the Black women, considering that we have always known him to not like Black women. Let's keep that a buck. We don't keep that a bean. Put a bookmark there. We're going to pick up on that later on in the reading. But there is some deeply rooted opportunism that's going on here. And I mean, it could also show that they're able to make money together. This could also even be deemed as a power couple aspect. So regardless as to not whether they are actually in love, although I doubt it, right? It could be a situation where they may actually legitimately be together. A lot of the relationship is rooted in optics, and it's rooted in what makes sense business wise. Let's just be honest. What makes sense in terms of our long-term plans and goals and opportunity. So there's that. Lori's Mars, which is at the 2nd degree of Libra, is squaring Michael's Venus, which can produce this is a man eater aspect. This is one of those aspects where Lori could eat him up, spit him out for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, where a lot of the way in which she carries herself is strategically done based on what other options are available to her at the moment. Okay. And then also, so it's worth mentioning, her Mars is squaring his moon, that Cancer moon. Not only does that Cancer moon, let's get into it. Michaelbjordan, the same man who has been known and rumored to only like white women or women who aren't black, essentially, him having that Cancer moon in his 10th house is actually very telling. Because it can create a person who has issues in regards to colorism, racism, or who can find themselves being very prejudiced towards the type of women that they date. And a lot of times it comes from a sense or a place of self-inadequacy. Also highlighted by the fact that his moon is opposing his Venus, that 4th house Venus in Capricorn. But with Lori's Mars squaring his moon in that 10th house of Cancer, that could also signify a relationship that is literally just done for the public, where it's just we're keeping up appearances for appearances' sake. That also ties into the fact that Michaelbjordan's South Node, okay, he's a Libra South Node, that's placed in his 1st house as well. So he naturally has a tendency to do things just for the look, or to care a lot about other people's input and to try to adjust who he is and navigate himself accordingly. This is also reinforced considering that Capricorn Venus is also his chart ruler. So a lot of the things that this man does is going to be for appearances. He's going to even engage in relationships for sheer optics, where he could even be in the act of leveraging relationships for his career, or where there could even be outside handlers and outside people influencing his decisions, all of that. Okay. And with that Cancer moon also squaring his nodes, because he's also, that would make him an Aries South node, or Aries North node rather, having that Cancer moon squaring his Aries North node and that Libra South node could deal with where, in this lifetime, he is supposed to be himself and live out loud, especially in his relationships, being very just straight up. This is who I am. This is what I like, and just getting a better understanding of who he is as a person by doing that. And with his moon squaring those nodes, like once again, it points towards a certain level of tension, a certain level of inner conflict that he's always going to experience, because he is really, I don't want to say it's self-hate, but he could definitely have some mommy issues, or some issues that could definitely impact the way that he looks at black women and his relationship with women in general, that are just going to, make it a lot more difficult for him to live in his truth. Okay. And in fact, with him having that 10th house moon, Cancer moon, opposing his Venus and Neptune in the 4th house, you could even look at this as him engaging in secret relationships. So on one hand, I will give him that. You could look at that as he and Lori being involved in a secret relationship. But in addition to like the secret relationship and private getaways, this could also deal with him going public, but where there is a lot of, the relationship isn't what it appears to be. Okay, in this relationship that he goes public in. It could also even point towards, the relationship being a cover. I wouldn't be surprised, especially with his moon in opposition to Venus, if his relationship with Lori wasn't a cover for another relationship. For all we know, he probably got a whole white woman, like a whole girlfriend on the side. That's the type of energy that this is giving me, and that this is a cover. This is strategic, almost even like damage control. And with Lori's Pisces moon opposing Michael's Sagittarius, Saturn, and Uranus, that reinforces this theme of her not being what he's used to racially, but also her being used to help his career, honestly. And that's also reinforced with his natal Saturn squaring his Jupiter in the 6th house of Pisces, which is opposing his Virgo ascendant. That's help. That's help all day long. Those are sheer, it's smoke and mirrors. It's not what you think it is, y'all. And it also doesn't help that, or well, like in his case, it does help, but from our vantage point, it further solidifies our case because Lori's Jupiter, that Capricorn Jupiter, is trining his Virgo ascendant. So you could even look at that as it being a mutually beneficial kind of arrangement for both of them. Once again, the man is acting, America, and my Bernie Mac voice. The man is acting, America. Okay, you could even tell when it comes to his Saturn and Uranus opposing or squaring rather her moon that he's not really emotionally invested in this relationship. I don't even know if he's actually all that into her. Not to say that there may not be a level of physical attraction, but so far nothing about their synastry spells out, deep and tender romance, passion. None of it. None of it. I will give them that Venus conjunct Neptune. Her Venus is also conjunct his Neptune, which can create like romance, a certain level, an element of romance, especially if we're talking about romantic getaways, which is also interesting because once again, they have been traveling together, but with it opposing his 10th house Cancer moon, a lot of times it's not what it seems, y'all. It's a cover up for something more, for something else that's going on. I mark my words. And in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if in the future a woman comes forth to expose Michaelbjordan, because that's another really big manifestation of not just having his Cancer moon in that 10th house square in his nose, where he can experience really pivotal moments that could really impact the trajectory of his career, his reputation, right? Where, a woman can come out and his whole reputation be on the line. But the same thing could even apply when it comes to, his relationship with Black women thus far. I think that's really been a really big thing hindering his career to a certain degree. But it could also manifest in a situation where a woman steps forward and says something, and now he's undergoing like a PR crisis. All right. A whole PR crisis. And with that Libra South Node in the first house, these are people who are just natural like PR machines. They are. Okay. Also, I couldn't overlook the fact that Michael has his Chiron in the 9th house of Gemini, and that's also opposing his Saturn and that Uranus. So that's another aspect that can bring about, it's kind of like an expose aspect where if he pisses off the wrong person or if something happens, maybe somebody could get a hold of his phone. I wouldn't be surprised if text messages leaked, or if somebody just came out and was like, look, Michael this and Michael that, or I was dating Michael during this time, or Michael did this and Michael did that. So if that ever comes out, y'all come back, watch this video, and drop me a donation in my Cashapp, because you heard it here first. But also, even with the way that his Jupiter, that 6th house Jupiter in Pisces is aspected, right? That could also bring about a lot of scandal and expose. So can that Venus conjunct Neptune in opposition to the moon in the 10th house. He just has a lot going on. So whatever it is, they better tread very carefully. But this does not spell personal or even long-lasting relationship for that matter. But don't feel sorry for Lori, because Lori's Saturn, as well as that Aries South node, is squaring Michael's Venus. So you could look at that as her being in it for herself as well. Okay, where she is savage, cutthroat, her being willing to run through him like, nobody's business. And the minute it doesn't work for her anymore, she's cutting him off. And actually, her having that Saturn conjunct her Aries South node explains a lot of her more masculine tendencies or qualities. In fact, in a past life or in many past lives, she may have been a man. So, and these are people who can be very primal when it comes to the way that they operate. Once again, very much in it for self, but also very just, instinctive. And like I said, it's almost like a self-preservation thing. If you or me, it's going to be me. And a lot of it is rooted in opportunism. And it's like, okay, well, I'm going to be here because it works and it's fun and it's new and it's shiny. But the minute it stops being shiny and new and fun, or the minute it gets a little complicated, I'm gone. Okay. And so that's very much the energy Lori has always given, and she will continue to give. You could even look at this as her being very independent minded, or always having her guards up. And that also reinforces that 4 energy. But also where the relationship could just lack closeness. It could just lack personal closeness. So, I mean, once again, like I said, at best, I feel like this is a business partnership, and it definitely does not have long-term potential. Not at all, especially with Lori's Saturn and South Node squaring Michael's Capricorn Venus. If anything, she'll probably be the first one to walk away. Okay, also, her having her Mars squaring his Venus doesn't help either. And with his Saturn and Uranus squaring her moon, that's another aspect that is not good for just long term durability or just longevity within a relationship. So, yeah, these are just my predictions. But y'all let me know in the comment section how y'all feel about Lori B. Jordan. Is that the name we're going to call them now? I guess for the time being, whatever. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about this couple, this whole situation. Do you like it? Do you love it? And make sure you practice unconditional self-love so that you can love others. And until the next video, I holla.